I'm here with Robbie. Now listen, I've been watching you do fan cam since the game ended, and I've got to say, man, the mood around this place is quite downbeat. And I know you obviously, from time, you're a very positive person, but dropping points today, not a good look, yeah?
Nothing to be positive about today. Nothing, absolutely nothing. That performance today was shocking. At home against Everton, you know what I mean? I don't want to sound disrespectful to Everton, right? But look at the record that we have against Everton, right? I think we've won against them more teams than any other team, right? It's a game. I know you shouldn't turn up and feel this sometimes, but it's a game that you're expected to win. When you look at the start of the season and you're looking at games, Everton at home, Everton away is a different proposition, by the way. That's always a tough place to go to. But at home, that's supposed to be, if you're in a title race, 3 points. And if you don't get 3 points, right, at the very minimum, we should be walking out here saying, yeah, you know what? We absolutely peppered their goal and Pickford had to pull off brilliant save after save. We ain't coming out saying that. I'm coming out and saying, first thing I said to a guy in there is I go, yo, you know what? When he saw the Everton players being clapped by their fans, he's going, oh, they're a disgrace. He goes, they didn't even try to win. I go, listen, they came here for a point, they got it. Their game plan, a bit like Fulham last week, their game plan is we know we're nowhere near as good as football inside as Arsenal. If we can come to the Emirates and get a point when we're struggling down near the bottom, happy days. Same with Fulham last week. We know we're nowhere near as good as Arsenal, but if we can get a point out of that game, because this is how they do, they measure it up and they'll look, you know, we're playing Wolves at home, we're supposed to win that, but we're playing Arsenal at home, nah. So at the very minimum, we should have been coming out of this game saying that there was an onslaught on Everton and they somehow survived, or the referee, that was something went against.
So let me ask you.
Let me just say, there's none of that. Absolutely none of that. They deserved their point, and we were absolutely atrocious today. That performance is not a performance you put in if you're going to try and win a league. That was awful today. I'm trying to think of, apart from the shot that Saka had, where Pickford made a really good save. What else did we do in that game? It was awful.
Strong words. No, but let me ask you.
And it deserves to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I agree with you. Like I said, the mood of this place, very downbeat. Even the likes of Belgium struggling to come up with some positivity at the moment. But let me say this, right? So talking to the other guys around, there seems to be a slightly mixed message. Is it the players? Is it the manager? Is it both?
I think it's a bit of all today. You know what I mean? Like, listen, the manager always gets praised. You'll see me do a player rating, and when a manager's won a game and he's done brilliantly, the manager's done brilliantly, or he's made a good substitution, and he gets all the praise. But on today's performance, you've got to blame Mikel Arteta as well and say, you know what I mean, why was the team, when we know what we're fighting for, and also you know what to expect. I called it yesterday when I did that live show. I said, we know what these men are going to do. They come in, everyone's going to be behind the ball, they're going to be resolute, they're going to defend. Manager today has to take some of the blame.
Was you happy with the team selection today?
The team selection was okay. I was happy with the team selection, and yeah, you can say in a way they've let him down. But also, you know, I just agree with what Dan said. Some of them substitutions were strange. Why did you take off Declan Rice for Jorginho? I was like,
that was baffling to me.
I thought Declan Rice was having an okay game. He wasn't lighting it up, but why are you going to bring on Jorginho?
Especially when you need a goal, right?
Yeah, he's exactly the same. I was thinking to myself, bring on Thomas Partey, because he's going to create a bit more. We all know that he's been our most creative midfielder this season. So when we didn't bring him on, I thought that was a real cautious approach by Mikel Arteta, because he's obviously thinking in his head that, yeah, Mars Lewis-Skelly's going to tire later, so I need to bring on someone to be that right back. But no, we needed a goal in. So that was very, very strange for me. You can't fault him for, you know, he brought on loads of attacking players, right? But I have to say, with what a lot of those guys are saying, you can start to see that Arsenal lack a striker. You know what I mean? We miss a striker because he threw on lots of attacking players. He threw on Trossard, he threw on Jesus, Wanyeri. These are all attacking players, right?
Although there's one attacking player he didn't bring on. Now, there's rumours going around that Raheem Sterling is not really Raheem Sterling. He's AI. because seriously, he must be AI because...
Raheem Sterling must be AI, right? Because I thought that Martinelli was having a poor game, right? And he stayed on for ages. And all right, fair enough, you bring on Trossard, because Trossard's come off the bench loads of times and he's really done it for Arsenal. But to me, sometimes...
This season?
Well, he has scored a lot of goals coming off the bench even this season for Arsenal. But sometimes you got to try, you got to gamble, you got to try something different. And he didn't, you know what I mean? And I don't understand why we brought Raheem Sterling in, because he never ever gets a game. I mean, I guess he'll play on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. But to me, he's an experienced player. Experience in the Premier League. He might have done something a little bit different. You know what I mean? We all know, because the one thing about Raheem Sterling, he's excellent at dribbling, right, and taking people on. And I'm really starting to really wonder how Martinelli is keeping his place at the moment ahead of, and when you've got Raheem Sterling there, unless he's been really, really bad. So you're right. Raheem Sterling must be AI. You know what I mean? Because I just do not understand how he can't get a game. And then just attacking wise, we were no threat. I mean, it was so easy for Everton. You know what I mean? They defended brilliantly and we couldn't break them down. And then even now, what we can go to in other games in set pieces, Everton are a big side. So even with the set pieces, they managed to scramble some of those away. A couple of those nearly got through. But
if my information is correct, I don't think we had a single shot from outside the box today.
We're not shooting from outside the box, although we've had shots from outside the box this season and scored from. Again, I don't get it. You know what I mean? And a lot of that must be instruction, like, you know, it must be, you know, keep calm, don't panic, let's keep the build-up play. It didn't work today. You know what I mean? The manager's got to take a lot of the blame today. And the players, there were so many players in that team today that were really, really bad. I agree with what some people said earlier, the only people who can come out with it with any sort of, you know, semblance of any respect is the two centre halves and the keeper. But everybody else in there was so below par. And when you're going for titles, you can't have off day. You had the off day last week. You can't have 2 off days in a row.
Is it over?
I don't know what to say, man. You know what? It's kind of, this game here reminds me of last year, right? Because I thought it was over then. Remember, we played Fulham, right? We played West Ham. We actually lost to. We lost to Fulham. We lost to West Ham, and I was like, I'm not even. We haven't even got to Villa yet. We had those 2 games around about December time. We lost both of them, and I was like, yeah, done. We're finished. Let me just, you know, enjoy a little Christmas or something. It's over. And then they got it together in the new year, and they went on an unbelievable run. But can you do that again? This season is such an opportunity missed. Liverpool today dropped points. First missed opportunity last week, then again this week. Imagine if we'd have won those 2 games. We would now be 1 point behind Liverpool. They'd have the game in hand, but they'd have to play Everton. And they'd have to go to Everton, play Everton, and that would be a tough game. And then when you're going for leagues and you get one, you know, a team was that far ahead, and now all of a sudden you've drawn it into 1 point, even with that game in hand, bit of anxiety starts to set in. We even know it. Yeah. The anxiety starts to set in. A team knows that even if they even draw a game, you're breathing down your neck. We've really blown it over the last 2 weeks. And I feel that today, because the one against Fulham, those can happen. But the one today at home against Everton, this is an unforgivable, I nearly said defeat, it's an unforgivable.
No, it's like a defeat, man. Like I said, the mood around here today was especially downbeat.
The mood deserves to be downbeat because, you know what I mean, that's shocking. And the mood in that change room will be downbeat, and the mood, I don't know, you can spin 0 positives out of that today.
Well, it's interesting you say that because shocking. Today could be a watershed moment, but if we are trying to be positive, we got to say that mathematically anyway, it's not over.
Yeah, so listen.
So my next question to you is, what would you like to see the manager do in order to turn things around?
I feel that in January, he needs to go out there and buy a striker. I'm totally with what, you know, Dan was saying. We need a striker. I mean, Kai Havertz, I feel, is like a second striker. He's not a striker. There was occasions today. There's one occasion today where the ball got played through to him, and instead of them picking the ball and driving forward, he then tried to turn and then he played it out wide to Martinelli. A striker.
I'll give you one better than that. There was a one-on-one with the keeper that he
kind of pulled out.
Kind of.
Yeah, he pulled out. And again,
looked like he swallowed it to me there, man.
To me, you know, Gorkarez, Vlahovic, Isak, they ain't pulling out of that. Them man, yeah, because that's their natural position. That's not his natural position. Your natural position as a striker. And I feel if we to have any chance, because I'll tell you the other thing that a striker, when you've got a top striker, another thing that happens, yeah, when you're in a game that's like this, because these sort of games actually do happen every season. Yeah. We had them last season. Every team has them. Whether you're Man City or whether you're Arsenal or Real Madrid, you have them. But when you've got a top striker, they can do something that wins you a game like this, even though you didn't really deserve it. So last week, Fulham did nothing in that game, attacking-wise, apart from the one chance they got him in, it's bang. He's a striker. He's one chance, right? We don't have that player right now, and I feel that that's what we're lacking. And I feel that if we could have a chance of winning the league, you need a player like that. That player, we've seen Salah do it, even though he's not quite a striker, but he's so deadly. We've seen Salah do that for Liverpool week after week. They've had a lot of games, Liverpool, where they weren't really blowing a team away, and he's pulled it out. Right? We've seen Haaland do it time after time for City, where they ain't really been, they're not having a bit of a bad day. I remember there was a game against Palace last year. It's him. Little moment, bang. And they went, we don't have that. We're so reliant on Saka.
No, okay.
So we need a striker.
I agree with you. You do need a striker.
Be another threat.
But until January comes, which let's face it, not that far away.
I'll tell you the other thing, Laurie, right? I feel we need if Sterling's not the answer, we need to go and get a left-sided attacking player as well. I'd get those two signings if you can. We all know January is really difficult, but to me, I prioritise those two areas. I feel everywhere else is okay.
Do you think he needs to maybe not rip up the playbook, but change things around in terms of, a lot of people here have expressed the viewpoint, and I'm alongside that, we're too predictable. Play the ball out to the flanks.
Yeah, we are.
Preferably the right-hand side.
We are predictable.
Expect Saka to do.
We can be predictable. But
my question is, what can he change to make us less predictable and a bit
striker.
more?
Get a striker, because you know what, City are predictable. You know what they're going to do. Liverpool, if you put a low block on it, they're predictable. You know what they're going to do. But they've got the guys that will break it down because they've got a striker. And then if you've got a striker, you've got a focal point. That's someone else for the defence to worry about. So they don't put three players out on Saka. And if you've got someone also on that left-hand side, then you've got to put somebody out there. But the reason we're so predictable now at the moment is that everything goes through Saka. If he don't do something, we're in trouble. So it's like, make sure you deal with him and we could keep these up quiet. It's and that is what we have to, that's what we have to solve.
I want to ask you one other question.
It's like sorry to say that, right? Is even at City at the moment, I feel one of the reasons they're struggling is like, stop the service, stop midfield from getting the ball to Haaland. They ain't going to do nothing because they're two wide players. They ain't really produce nothing. They look good on the eye. They really do nothing. Stop the flow to Haaland, and that's what they've done. So
the other question I wanted to ask you is maybe a bit of a difficult question, especially for someone like yourself, but there's been a lot of, how can I put it? Well, certainly criticism levelled at him. Some people are saying they're running out of confidence in him. The manager, do you think he has what it takes to win us the major honours, titles, Champions League, things like that?
We still have to wait and see. I can't tell you that. I can't answer that in December.
But is he looking like the kind of guy that you have belief in, that he can turn things around?
I still got to believe. Still got to wait and believe in him because we're in December, right? And remember that Mikel Arteta has got us to challenge him. Everyone used to come here and talk about top four. I used to speak to Yardman. He used to be talking about top four and all that. Now all of a sudden, he's saying sack the manager, but he's got no clue at who he'd bring in. To me.
No, but to be fair to Yardman, right? When you say things to him like, "But who?" I'm not sure if that's fair on Yardman.
To me.
No. I've got to make this. I heard you having that conversation earlier, quite a heated one, and I'm saying, you know what, Yardman, he's expressed his view, whether you agree with him or not.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure whether your riposte being, well, who? Is answering the question that Yardman is putting, whether the manager is good enough or not.
I think it's a very important person to know who that person would be, because you can't just go sacking managers and then you bring in someone worse.
No, but all right. So you've said Martinelli is not playing well. He's not good enough. Blah blah blah. So equally, I could say, well, who are we going to bring in?
Yeah, but
so
I could then turn around and say, let's go and try and get Nico Williams again. For a striker, let's go and get Vlahovic. Let's try and go and get what's his name? There's a Lookman you could bring in. Gokeres. Sorry, I slipped his name. I can name names. But if you just stand up here and say, yeah, sack him, and then what are you going to bring in? Sean Dyche? Give me a clue. Give me a little inkling of who you're thinking then that will come in and do better. And we'll move it on, right? Because at the moment, you know what I mean, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I'm not sure who that person would be. So
you're happy with him, though, yeah?
Also, I'm not completely happy, but what I am happy with is that at least we're challenging for titles at the moment. So he's taking it to the next level. He's taking it to a level that we're challenging for the league. We're third in our group in the Champions League. It would be mental to sack a manager right now who's doing that. That's ridiculous. Let's wait until the end of the season. I know people are upset. I know people are angry. You know, come out here and say sack him tonight. That's foolishness as far as, in my book, it's his opinion, right? And I respect that, but we're third.
That's the other end. Yeah, but what Yardman said is the other end of the spectrum. He's saying sack him tonight. No, we all know that's not going to happen. But
are we going to go to Real Madrid, right? And then a Real Madrid fan comes out and says, looking at the title, looking at the title where it is at the moment, they're behind Barcelona. They're struggling to qualify in the Champions League. Sack Ancelotti. I mean, come on, let's wait. You got to wait a bit and see what happens. And
I agree with you.
That's all I'm saying.
My point is that is the other end of the spectrum. What I'm saying is, are you happy with this manager now, what he's doing?
In general.
Because a lot of people are expressing their reservations. Are you happy with it?
Listen, in general, I'm happy. In general, I'm still backing him. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Can I say something?
In a minute. Right, so let's project forward slightly. Got a couple of games next week against the same team, Crystal Palace. How confident are you we can turn things around?
Listen, I'm sure we can turn it around, but I think Palace are going to do what you've seen there today. They again will defend. They'll come, especially that League Cup game. They're going to come to frustrate, and at home they'll frustrate. That's what they did to City the other day. There's the same blueprint. So can we break it down? That's what we're going to find out.
Okay, Robbie. Thank you very much.